Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for Wednesday, October 18th, 2017 to order. I'd like to start out by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. If anybody would like to join me, please rise. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For the benefit of those who may not have participated in a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, our procedures are as follows. We will read the legal call of the meeting as published in local newspapers. The applicant will be invited to come forward and present the case, explaining to the Commission and others present what is being requested of the property. Comments of town agencies will be read for each application if there are any. There will be clarifying questions from the Commissioners. Then there will be an opportunity for clarifying questions from the audience. First, those who wish to support the application may come forward, and second, those who oppose the application will be invited to come forward and express their opinion. As this is a public hearing, it must be recorded. It's necessary for all speakers to identify themselves and state their name and address before addressing the Commission. The applicant is then free to leave or remain for the balance of the public hearing and the regular meeting, at which time the Commission will try to reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing to the decision of this Commission and has a right to appeal to Superior Court if desired. Decisions of the meeting are available the day after the meeting by call to Planning and Zoning Office at 453-8039 after 9 a.m. Seated this evening are the following Planning and Zoning members. We have Matthew Yorzinski, Rich Meyer is there, Alan Brown, Josh Hirschman, we have Dick Wallace, myself, Frank DeAndrea. Staff present are George Kroll, and our recording secretary is Lisa Piombino. The videographer this evening is Peter Schultz. Will the secretary please read the legal notice?
Notice is hereby given that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on October 18, 2017 at 7:30 p.m. in the Nathaniel B. Green Community Center, 32 Church Street, Guilford, Connecticut, in the Monunketuck Room on the second floor for the following purposes. Brian Boguski, 2641 Long Hill Road, map 104, lot 13A, zone R8, special permit for accessory apartment, section 273-19. Copies of this application is available for inspection at the Office of Planning and Zoning Commission, Town Hall South, 50 Boston Street, Guilford, Connecticut. At this hearing, persons may attend and be heard, and written communications will be received. Dated at Guilford, Connecticut, this 27th day of September 2017, Frank DeAndrea, Chairman.
Thank you. So do we have our first applicant, Brian Boguski?
What would you like me to tell you?
First, do your name and address for the record.
Brian Boguski, 2641 Long Hill Road, Guilford.
All right, so you were looking for the accessory apartment.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have on this? We checked with Georgia, you know?
I talked to Reggie. George knows about the situation.
It satisfies all the zoning requirements in terms of the checklist.
Nothing changing on the outside?
No.
No, I made an apartment years ago for my mother where she came and lived with us downstairs, and after she passed away, we decided to keep the apartment, because it was already there, and that's where we are today.
There's a letter here from Dennis Johnson, the Director of Health.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this letter?
No, I talked to him on the phone the other day.
So that's good. It's dated for today. The applicant's existing house septic system was originally sized to accommodate a wastewater flow from a 5-bedroom house. The proposed apartment will create a total house bedroom count of 5. The proposed single-bedroom apartment does not conflict with the current septic system, design capacity, or location.
Right. Yeah, we talked on the phone about that.
If you want this, you could have this.
No, I built the house. I mean, I put septic systems in. I know it was a 5-bedroom.
George, are there any requirements for the drawings, or that we have to waive, or? Okay.
No. What we have here is next one is a drawing of the apartment floor plan.
That's the floor plan of apartments on the lower floor of the,
Yeah, it's on
of
the
the
house,
building?
walkout basement, yep.
Any other questions?
Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody in the audience have a question at this time? All right. Nobody have any comments? Anybody want to speak in favor or against? No? All right, anybody want to make a
So
motion?
this will be continued until our next public hearing, which is the first week of November.
The 1st of November. Why is it continuing?
We have a rule with special permits that they have to have 2 public hearings.
Oh, so I got to come back again?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one's November 1st. Now, do I have to put another thing out on the, no?
Nope, all you have to do is show up and that's about it.
Stand here like a
Unless-
jerk again?
Unless something changes.
Yeah, let us know.
I'm sure Reggie will let me know if something changes. She's away, though.
All right. Thank you very much.
I hope she didn't get robbed over there. Boy, I tell you, well, my girlfriend went to Italy and bought this gold chain for me for like $3,500 that I found out wasn't gold after she came home from the trip. You know, I mean, that was kind of disheartening. She went off the cruise ship, went into the place and bought the gold chain that wasn't gold, and what are you going to do about that now, right? But there's some issues that I've heard about going to Italy for that. I hope she didn't have any of those kind of issues. All right, so I'll be here next month.
All right, did we get to continue?
I made the motion.
Do I have a second to continue?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Motion to approve the revised agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, deliberation of public hearing?
Nothing.
There's
There
nothing.
is nothing.
Applications to be received?
Do you want me to just read them off?
Yeah, please.
Okay, Christina and Gilbert Mokel, 260 Landon's Way, map 69, lot 42-9, zone R8, special permit to allow for keeping of 6 chickens and 2 horses for recreational use, section 273-19, receive and set public hearing date of 11/15/17 to be continued to 12/6/17. Yeah, we're not going to be scheduling much, oh no, maybe we are. All right, never mind. Yes, that's a
Heard, I'm
motion.
looking for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Now I'll make a motion to approve Benton Knolls, PRD, Unit 7, Benton Knolls, map 8, lot 24, zone R5, special permit to revive existing PRD to include the installation of an in-ground swimming pool, section 273-19, receive and set public hearing date of 11/15/17 to be continued for 12/6/17 for mandatory second public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Move on.
I'll make a motion that we receive Ocean Co. 485 Whitfield Street, map 2, lot 9, zone R3, coastal area management for placement of a 125.1 cubic yard soil over an area of 6,029 square feet to replace soil eroded by tidal water, section 273-91, receive and set public hearing date for 11/1/17.
All in favor?
Town of Guilford, Falcon Road, map 2, zone Sachem's Head Association repairs seawall on Falcon Road is 27391. Receive and set public hearing date for 11/15/17.
All in favor? All right, we're on to site plan, right?
Yep.
We have John Matthews, 30 Water Street.
A little bit of a setup. Everybody good?
Yeah, we're good.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Michael Harkin. I'm a professional engineer and principal of Harkin Engineering, located at 78 Wolf Hollow Lane in the town of Killingworth, Connecticut. Here tonight on behalf of my client, 30 Water Street LLC, for their project located on 30 Water Street. Just to orientate ourselves with the project site, this is 30 Water Street. Right next to it is the post office. Okay, it's the blue house that's got that big lean to it. You can see it over here in the drawings. This is 30 Water Street, the front looking across the street, and there's the post office in the corner. So we're here tonight for site plan approval for our proposed project. We have the existing building as it is. In the back rear portion, you can see that over the years, there's been multiple additions put on there. So what we're proposing, the grand scheme before I get in depth with the project is, we're going to be making the first floor a retail/office space, and the second floor, we're going to have 2 one-bedroom apartments, basically loft apartments. In order to do that, we'll be taking off the additions in the back portion and replacing it with the new addition, and then some site appurtenances, which I'll go over. So basically, we're leaving the existing front house as it is. As far as location, we're not going to be moving it. We'll be erecting it and structurally shoring it up. It does have a very bad lean to it. So what we'll be doing is we're going to widen the proposed existing driveway up a little bit to get a 2-way traffic in there. And then you're going to come to this back area, which is a parking lot. We have enough for 10 parking spaces. We have a handicap located directly adjacent to our sidewalk. Our sidewalk then leads up to a handicap ramp in the back section and our main entrance that's located in the back portion of the building. We do have parking across one side and the rear side of the parcel. We do have 2 light posts, which you can see, one over here and one in the rear. We do have a full photometrics done, which was part of the PAM packet. So we do have the light spillage, which we reviewed with staff as well as the design review committee. We submitted the cross sections for the proposed lights that were going to be used. And again, we went over that with staff and the design review committee. On the subject site, we're also going to have a small dumpster, which is going to be enclosed in a dumpster area. Basically, the trash collector will come in. If it's a larger scale one, they can pick it up and either back up or do a 3-point turn and get out of the subject site. Because this area right now back here is grass, we're proposing to make it impervious. We have an increase of impervious area, so we have to detain that. We do have a large underground detention system in the back of the property. We've done soil testing back there to make sure it works and it will function properly, both perk tests and deep tests, which were witnessed by Dennis Johnson. Along the border of the property, we're going to be putting in a new fence, a wooden fence. It's important to note that the neighbor, Mr. Joe Ematrano, we've had multiple discussions with. He's had some input into our design, and more so with the landscape features and the landscape architect. If you wish, we do have a full landscape plan, can go over that. So in the front, our main entrance is actually not the driveway side, but it's the sidewalk side. We're going to have an arch in the front of the building, and then we're coming across this sidewalk. There's a nice tulip tree, I believe. We're going to try to keep that, obviously. It's definitely a feature that both Mr. Ematrano and the owner of 30 Water Street want to keep. And then the main entrance here, we have stairs coming up for the handicap ramp. There's an existing Bilco that's going to get replaced, and then we have the AC condensers adjacent to the building. They're going to be covered up by bollards and lattice, so you can't really see them from the street. We've done a lot with the building. John Matthews is the architect. Mr. David Basaloon from his office is here if you want to get in depth with the structural integrity of the building, but it's pretty poor. I'll just go over some things real quick. You can see we've been in there. We've done a whole analysis on the structure in order to be able to shore it up. In order to get to you guys, the Planning and Zoning Commission, we did have to go to ZBA for a variance. We have a couple variances. The first is impervious coverage due to the proposed parking lot in back, which we were granted. And then in this zone, believe it or not, the front yard setback is 75 feet from the front of the property. So if you added all the setbacks, you know, we're pretty far off. This whole building is basically within the setback, which is over here. Just to orientate yourself from the street, the front of the post office building is basically where you can put a building up there. So of course, we had to go for a variance, which we did receive. We meet all the zoning regulations as far as parking, things of that nature. We've added some LID stuff pursuant to staff comments. Basically, Kevin McGee would like us to make this, pervious pavers instead of impervious, which we've added in. We had a note added to the plan, which basically said no curbing. Everything's going to sheet flow. We're going to get it to the grass where we can. We've gone over the project with Mr. Dennis Johnson. I believe in your packet you'll have an approval letter from him. We've gone over it again with Kevin McGee. I think he's going to have a favorable letter that was submitted. We also went over it with the fire department, just to make sure we can provide access and get a fire truck in there. They were favorable for the project. Design review also, I believe, submitted a letter, again, favorable for the project. With that being said, let me just go over quickly to show you what the building is going to look like when complete. This is the front side of the building, looking from the street side, and basically you can see the archway that I was talking about. It's going to be, the big 30 on there, as well as the offices. There's our screening and the bollards for the street side AC units. The front door, although pretty, is not really functional. So again, the main entrance is towards the back. This is the driveway side. The post office is here, looking this way. We tried to screen everything up as we could. And then looking for the back, this is the back side. After you park your cars, you're looking this way with the 30 Water Street offices, the handicap ramp, and the main entryway. This would be the side towards the neighbor where the tulip tree is. This is Mr. Amatrano over here. Again, we have a lighting plan, and then we have a full landscape plan as well with the landscape architect. Again, the architect and the landscape architect is here if you guys have any questions for that.
There are a couple letters. Do you want me to read them in now, or?
Yes, sir.
So there's one from Kevin McGee, dated today. The applicant has proposed to renovate a circa 1756 house into an office and 2 residential apartments. The renovation involves an addition to be installed to the rear of the structure and the creation of a paved parking area behind the house. The applicant has completed the checklist to guide low-impact development, best management practices, and is utilizing some of the recommended practices. The addition and increase in the parking area will change the existing impervious coverage from 24% to 77%. To mitigate the increase in impervious surface, the applicant proposed to install pervious sidewalk around the building and installation of an underground infiltration system. And you have already incorporated that in your site plan?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? Yeah. So we won't need a condition of it. Do you need this letter or not?
Yes.
Okay. And then this one is from Dennis Johnson. Soil tests conducted on the applicant's existing lot on August 3rd, 2017 revealed suitable conditions for construction of a new codes complying septic system. This septic system design prepared by Harkin Engineering complies with public health code requirements for proposed change in use. It is recommended that the applicant's proposed change in use be approved.
We have another staff comment from Joel Helander, town historian. Maybe Matthew would like to read that.
Says, Dear Commissioners, I would like to go on record as a supporter of the application pending tonight submitted by architect John Matthews in regards to 30 Water Street. The 18th century dwelling house on this property has great historical significance and has appeared on every old house inventory for Guilford since 1889. Moreover, the property is located within the National Register of Historic Places Village Center District. Kenny Horton's recent purchase of this property has relieved the preservation community because a previous applicant proposed to demolish the house. On July 19th, I examined Mr. Matthews' design plans at his office in Madison. It appears that the plan is to restore or preserve as much of the dwelling as possible. There are high hopes that the Secretary of the Interior's standards for the treatment of historic properties can be followed. These are common sense historic preservation principles in non-technical language. To that end, on September 18th, I met with Mr. Matthews and project foreman Jim Blank for the Horton Group at the historic Pendleton House to address the ways and means of rehabilitation in a way that we can preserve the structure's historic character. Jonathan Worth, a restoration contractor who was retained by Guilford Preservation Alliance, as well as GPA Representative Tracy Tomaselli, were also present. We examined the house with fruitful discussions and left with the feeling that Mr. Horton's team is equipped to do the job right. Please give the application before you the serious consideration that it deserves so that the process of historic rehabilitation can proceed. Respectfully submitted, Joel Hellender, Town Historian, Guilford.
Just one last thing to make the application complete. When we were at the Design Review Commission, they were asking us, instead of just putting up your normal fence around the dumpster, if we can do something that basically accented the historical nature of the house. So Mr. Matthews designed the shed for the trash receptacles. So I just like to submit that for the record. Anybody would like to see it, basically, it's more of a historical design to the house.
Good luck with it. Garbage truck smashes it.
Yeah, we had discussions with that regarding whether it was going to be a physical dumpster per se. The reality is because it's such a small office type network, it might just be garbage cans, a couple of them in there. Nothing like major where we have to roll in a truck and pick it up. But that's to say that somebody else might come in and we need a bigger 20-yarder or 15-yarder.
And you're putting a roof on it?
Yeah.
What's the time frame on this?
If I can ask my client, I believe it was like yesterday, there's still a lot of work that we have to do with the physical building. It's in some rough shape. It's in really rough shape.
I don't know how you're going to do it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it, put it that way. All ways and means that we need to, we've got a lot of people working on this project behind the scenes, so. After the approval, we're gonna go right into the structural analysis of the building, the integrity. We've already had structural engineers on site multiple times. And we already have a lot of interested people that already want to rent out the building, so.
What could be better?
Exactly. Thank you.
Anybody got any more questions?
I think they've covered every base there is and then some.
Does anybody want to feel it necessary to hear from either the landscape architect or anything?
I just had one question. So obviously Guilford's interesting with the residential and commercial properties here in the center of town. And you've been in constant communication with the residential neighbors regarding this project?
Yes.
And everyone seems pretty on board with it?
Absolutely. The commission may remember a few years ago, I designed Mr. Amatrano's a house in the rear of his property. And some discussions with Mr. Amatrano have also taken place where we might actually do something with his property in conjunction with this at a later date.
Yeah.
It's C1 zone.
Yeah, I know. I just like to ask.
Mr. Amatrano asked for certain plantings along the fence,
Yeah.
which we put up.
It's a nice thing when you go
All right. Any other questions from the commission at all?
I'm good.
All right, Alan, you good?
Good.
Matt's good, yeah, because it's not public, so please do.
Voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a site plan application for John Matthews, 30 Water Street, map 32, lot 40, as shown on whatever. Site development plan modifications for the Pendleton House, 3 sheets prepared by Harkin Engineering dated 8/4 and revised to 10/11/17. Pendleton House circa 1756, 7 sheets dated 9/26/17, prepared by John Matthews Architects and Planning. The application is approved, and based on the finding that with the variance granted, it conforms with the zoning code.
Okay, we got the motion, makes sense.
Everything makes sense.
All right, I'll call the vote, all in favor? Opposed or abstained? Nobody. Congratulations, good luck, guys.
Good luck. Be careful.
We're on to F.
F already.
Other. Request received from William Gozzi regarding the Blackberry Ridge subdivision on Westlake Avenue, requesting a 90-day extension of the time to file a subdivision map in the town clerk's office.
I make a motion to grant the 90-day extension.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll
Mr.
get
Chairman, I make a
bills.
motion to pay the $52 to Shore Publishing.
Second.
All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I reviewed the minutes and they appear, from 9:20 regular meeting, they appear substantially correct. I make a motion we approve them.
Second.
Matthew.
I'm going to recuse myself.
You recuse. What do you got? Anything? I know you usually find something.
Well, I think there was something about the housing authority, and I'm not sure if something happened in the deliberation or if it happened during the public hearing when we discussed the tree, but I think it's okay, as long as you guys are okay with it. Yeah.
You okay?
All right. All in favor?
You recuse myself.
One recusal.
Inasmuch as there's no further business before this commission, I make a motion we adjourn the meeting.
All in favor? Guys, thank you very much. Happy Halloween.
Frank, I think it's my.